Hello, everyone, and welcome to this next episode of the King Lincoln Show. Today, I want to continue telling the story of my very interesting and fascinating life. And I want to tell you about how I lived for 5 months in a Buddhist monastery and did heaps of meditation and had lots of interesting experiences and whatnot. But before that, just briefly, I want to talk about UFC, the White House card, and give you my predictions. So I'm just going to do the predictions for the fighters who I know who they are, because some of them I don't know who they are. But Mauricio Rufy, however you say his name, versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler always seems to find a way to lose. Like, that's one of his talents, is finding creative ways to lose. He seems to have some really low IQ moments, low fight IQ moments. And he's not really very technical. He's very athletic, but he's not very technical. And from what I've seen, this Ruffy guy, whatever his name is a very technical striker, and has really good movement and everything, very dynamic striking. And I reckon, maybe he'll knock Chandler out with like a crazy spinning wheel kick, or maybe he will just outpoint him, outstrike him, and win by decision. So I'm going with Ruffy, if that's how you say his name. Possibly by KO or TKO, but possibly by decision. Josh Hockett versus Derek Lewis. I don't like Josh Hockett. I think he's very, very cringy. I don't like his stupid costumes and his stupid rhymes. I think it's lame. And I don't really like that style of fighting. Like, everyone was saying, oh, Curtis Blades versus Josh Hockett is like the best heavyweight fight of all time. No, it fucking wasn't. It was a mess. It was like a bar fight. It was two fat dudes flopping around, flailing around, falling over each other, getting puffed out, looking fat, and it wasn't. I like technical fights. Like, I like fights where it's not just entertainment like a brawl. It's like it's like a show of actual like skill and like mastery of different crafts, different styles of fighting and stuff. So all that brawling with zero defense and winning but taking heaps of damage, that's not my style of fight that I think is good. But anyway, Derek Lewis has a lot of losses. He's quite a bit older. So what I want to happen is Derek Lewis to just throw a huge haymaker and knock Josh Hockett the fuck out. I don't know if that will happen. So I think Josh Hockett will just out-cardio him, outwork him, and win by decision. That's what I think will probably happen. But I would love for Derek Lewis to knock him out. That'd be great. I'm not a hater, but I'm really not a fan of Josh Hockett's cringy style. I think he's maybe the cringiest person ever in the UFC. Yeah, cringier than Henry Cejudo, cringier than Colby Covington. Colby Covington actually had funny lines and stuff. Super cringy. Sean O'Malley versus Zahabi. I admit I don't really know anything about Zahabi. I just watched some clips recently. Looks like he's mainly a striker. He does have good grappling, but he's mainly a striker. He doesn't go for any takedowns. He just uses like wrestling defensively, so he mainly strikes. So it should be a good fight. Um, he's a bit more boxing based than O'Malley. O'Malley has more like kicks and dynamic striking and stuff. Um, it's a hard one to pick because I don't know that much about Zahabi, but I'm gonna go with O'Malley. I think O'Malley's taller, longer, rangier, a bit more dynamic, has more variety of strikes and stuff from what I can see. So I don't know if it will be by KO or TKO or decision, but I think O'Malley will probably take it. And I hope that O'Malley takes it because O'Malley lost to Marab twice, and that kind of killed his hype. But if he loses again, and he loses to a striker, that's it for his hype. His hype is just fucking gone. And I like O'Malley. I think he's entertaining. He's funny. He posts funny shorts on and clips on YouTube. And he gives us good moments. He gives us like crazy knockouts and stuff. So I don't want his hype to be totally gone. So I hope he wins. And I think he will. It'll be great if he gives us another fucking crazy KO. Yeah, another walk-off knockout or something, but we'll see. Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. Is it Gain or Gane? I don't know. I'm terrible with these names, but yeah, I think Cyril Gane could give Alex Pereira some problems. Obviously, it's Alex's first fight at heavyweight. Gane is a bit bigger and everything. Alex is adjusting to the new weight and stuff, and he's obviously going to be heavier. His movement won't be like quite as good, probably. He does look kind of fat, like he didn't have time to put on the muscle properly to be like a shredded heavyweight. He's got a bit of body fat. Cyril Gane has good movement and good striking, good kind of like, good in and out movement and jabs and stuff. It could give Alex Pereira problems, but if Alex gets off like some calf kicks early, takes away some of Cyril Gane's movement, if he's okay like defending the jab, not getting like the shit like jabbed out of him, if he doesn't get fucking poked in the eye, fucking eye gouged, that piece of shit dirty fighter Gane loves poking eyes. He loves kicking people in the nuts. He loves fouling, pretty obviously intentionally. It's hard to argue with that. Yeah, Pereira should find his shot. He obviously has the power and everything. Yeah. I hope that Pereira wins by knockout. I think the fight will finish by knockout. Whoever wins, and I hope Pereira wins, and I think he will. I'll go with Pereira. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. This is a pretty obvious one. Justin is just too wild, too sloppy with his striking. Ilia's boxing, he's like pretty much flawless. He's so slick. And I don't think, it'll be hard for Justin to change his game plan and just try to stay on the outside and kick. It'll be hard for him to totally change his style, his game plan, and like get any good like takedowns and stuff. So I think Ilia will probably knock him out. The first time Justin makes a mistake or opens himself up, Ilia would just find the shot and knock him out via punches, and that'll be the end of it. Probably maybe somewhere in this first to third round. That's what I think will probably happen. Will we be surprised, and will Justin pull off some kind of miracle? I think that'd be so amazing if that happens. If Justin somehow knocks out Ilia, I'll lose my fucking shit. I swear to God. Especially as Justin's kind of older and everything, and could possibly be one of his last fights. But if that happens, I will fucking shit myself. But I don't think it will. I think Ilya knocks him out. So those are my picks. Those are my predictions. Let's see how I do. I might end up not getting to post this before the fight, but I am recording this before the fight. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Okay, so now to the main topic for today. I want to tell you about when I lived in a Buddhist monastery. So, yeah, after I left the ashram, so last time I was telling you how I lived in a yoga ashram for a year and a half, did lots of yoga and meditation, and had a series of different adventures. When I decided to leave, because some people, like some residents of the ashram and stuff, they really are into the tradition, like the yoga tradition, like as if it's like a club that you're a part of. I really didn't see it that way, but some of them did. So some of them kind of took it as a betrayal, like me leaving, and especially me going to another, kind of meditation related place, like as if I was defecting to there. But I didn't really care because I was leaving, and I thought the Buddhist monastery was a lot better than the ashram because the ashram was kind of based around like work and doing daily duties and stuff. The monastery was really based around meditation and doing like pretty much as much meditation per day as possible. And we did a lot more, and yeah, that's what I really wanted to do, and that's why I decided to go there. But there was another nice moment. I was always kind of like hiding myself, like hiding my true self from people at the ashram. Like I didn't want them to know, because when I first arrived there, I was not in a good mental state. I was still kind of suffering from anxiety and stuff, but I wanted to stay there, so I kind of hid that from them. And in the year and a half I was there, all those problems and stuff improved a lot. Like all the meditation and introspection really helped things. But still, I didn't want to reveal the fact that I wasn't really into the whole yoga tradition thing. I just wanted a place to stay. So I never really, I hid a lot from them. I didn't really show my true self to them, or my true like colors and opinions and stuff that much. So I was quite guarded a lot of the time when I was there. But I did have one nice moment where the guy who was kind of supposed to be my mentor, but I never really used him as my mentor, and he was a nice guy, but he wasn't particularly wise or anything. He was a bit of a silly person. He said to me as I was kind of gonna leave, he was like, "I hope everything like goes well, at your new place and everything. And if it doesn't, we're here." And I wish I thanked him better for that, because that was really nice. Like that was a nice thing to say, and I knew it was genuine. I knew that if things went badly at the monastery and stuff, like they would just have me back. They would just welcome me back, and at the ashram, and that was really nice. And I know I kind of gave some shit to like people at the ashram and stuff. Like I talked a bit of shit, but there was like a lot of super nice, genuine people there. Yeah, and they were really like, yeah, a lot of them were really nice to me, really kind to me. So I am really grateful for that. And to a certain extent, I wish I could have been more open and nicer with them and stuff, but it was kind of just the situation, like, and the place in life that I was at that time. And I wasn't fucking mean to anyone, I just could have been more friendly and open and shit like that. So anyway, long story short, I went to this monastery and I moved there and I started living there. So the Buddhist monastery, it was it was a it was in the Thai forest tradition, and that's a Buddhist, like a kind of style of Buddhism where um they kind of, the monks and stuff, they live out in the forest and they're kind of secluded from society, and they just base their whole life around like doing heaps of meditation. They do sitting meditation and also walking meditation. They don't really have any physical practices like, like yoga or qigong or anything that they do. But if you want to do that stuff, you just bring your own. You just do it in your own time. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So the monastery was actually not very far away from the ashram, which is kind of part of how I got onto it. And I'd actually been there to visit once before actually deciding to move there. And I had to like do an application and like, say like, what meditation experience I had and like what my views on Buddhism were and stuff like that. And so they accepted me anyway. And I'll just tell you a bit about the monastery. So it's kind of really far away from anything else. Like it's quite a long drive to get to even like the next tiny town or like even petrol station or anything. It's like quite a drive. And even when you get up to like where the road is to go to the monastery, like you're driving through the bush. In Australia, we call the wilderness the bush. And like you're just driving through the bush. There's just trees and bushes and plants and stuff all around you. Just one kind of road. And you get to this really like inconspicuous, just like this gate. And it doesn't really even have a sign or anything, I'm pretty sure. And you go up like a dirt road, and it's like a fucking terrible road. There's like potholes and rocks, and it's just like a dirt road. You have to drive up this bit where you could fucking fall off, like, cause there's a fucking cliff, and it's kind of like, whoa, shit, better hug that corner real nice, cause like, there's a big fucking drop. So yeah, it's a big winding dirt road. You have to go like up where there's like cliffs and stuff. It's a terrible fucking road. And yeah. Then you finally get to the monastery. And the monastery is very spread out. Like there's a lot of land that is all part of the monastery. It's not just like one building. And there's a kind of little hub of the monastery, which is like it has this kind of smaller meditation room, just like a little carpeted room. And it has like an office and a little library with all sorts of Buddhist and like spiritually and meditation-y books. And it has a kitchen there and a little kind of patio place. And then so there's that part which is like a little hub, a little kind of admin center thing. And then like a long way away, I'm not sure how long it takes to walk there. Probably over 5 minutes, like between 5 and 10 minutes. You walk through just like it's kind of like open, more open, not like a. It's in the middle of pretty much a forest, but it's kind of cleared. So there's trees here and there as you're walking around the monastery. There's trees here and there, but there's clearings and stuff. It's more open than like just a full-on forest, but it's surrounded by like thick forest. Yeah, you walk about 5 to 10, maybe 5-7 minutes, and you get to a big meditation hall. and it's like a big temple, and it's really, really big. You could probably seat maybe more than 100 people in there. And it has this big kind of sloping roof. It has big gold statues and stuff, and like they have all these like flowers and stuff set up. It's really ornate and it's like really cool. And it has a kind of, yeah, it's kind of paved around it, like so you can like walk around it and stuff. And yeah, it's got wooden floors. Like inside is all like this like kind of like dark like wood. And it's pretty cool. It's like a full on like yeah, temple type thing, like a full on meditation hall. And other than those two places, there's basically, they call them kutis, but what they are little huts, like little meditation huts. So there's different ones and they're different sizes, but for the most part, it's really just like a room. Like it's really just about the size of like a bedroom or something. And they're kind of, I can't remember what they're made out of, but like, yeah, they've got like a lot of wood on them and stuff. I don't know if they're totally made out of wood. They have little patios out the front of them. And yeah, not much to them other than that. And uh I think, I'm not sure if all of them have this, but most of them have a little like a little not a stove, but like a little wood burner thing where you like burn wood to, because it gets really, really fucking cold there. So you burn wood and you like warm up your little hut. And there's nothing else there. No electricity, um, like nothing. It's not a house or a unit. It's literally like a little hut, like a little room, and that's it. You can sleep in there. It's just about as big as a bedroom, and that's it. And they they don't have flushing toilets and like full on running water and stuff there either. They have composting toilets. Um, and when you're living in one of the little huts, there's a place that's basically like a hole with a cover over it where you can shit. And then they have kind of nice composting toilets. Like it's like a long drop toilet, so you walk upstairs and there's a proper like toilet room where you like do a shit, but it drops down and drops into compost. It doesn't drop into water. Um, and they have running water from like for the kitchen and stuff, but it's just from a tank of rainwater. And sometimes they buy water if they really need to. They're not connected to like the mains of like running water or whatever. So it's really like out there in nature type thing. So yeah, they had that kind of admin place with the kitchen and the little rooms and stuff and the library and the office. They have the big meditation hall, and then just dotted around, they have these tiny little meditation huts, and that's it. Like that's the whole monastery, pretty much. Um, and they have like a block of composting toilets, and they have some showers. Um, yeah, that also run off like rainwater, and that's basically it. Like, there's really not much there, and it's really spread out. So, like, to walk from one person's hut to another person's hut, you really are like walking on trails and stuff, like walking through the bush. It's not all clustered together. It's like spread apart across a bunch of land, like in the middle of this Australian forest type place. So anyone can go and visit. Like, if you want to visit for a day or something, you can like call ahead or something, or you can just show up. You got to show up at the right time, like show up at lunchtime so people will actually be around. So anyone can kind of visit, and if you come at the right time, there'll be like a lunch. There might be like a talk, meditation session, sorry. And then people might, stay around and chat for a bit. But then everyone will go off and like meditate in their huts and stuff. Um, and then you can do the same thing. Like you can meditate in the like meditation hall or like walk around in the bush. You can like read in the library, but then there's not really much else to do, and everyone who lives there will disappear off to their huts to meditate and stuff. So you'll be kind of bored alone after like a little while, after kind of after lunch is over. Um, and only a few people live there. Like I don't know what it's like now, but when I was there, there'd never be more than like 10 people actually living there. But if you want to actually stay at the monastery, you can stay and it's free, but you have to do an application and they have to kind of accept you. Like they want you to be a Buddhist, they want you to have some meditation experience and stuff. And they just kind of check you out. Like they just make sure you're all right. And you need to be genuine. Like you can't try to just be a freeloader and stay there. You need to participate. You need to come to like all the meditation sessions and stuff. And you need to do a bit of work. So sometimes you like help prepare lunch. Um, because they only have one main meal, which is lunch. You need to do some work like on the grounds and stuff. It's really not much, but you have to participate in the whole like schedule of the monastery. You can't just like live there and like fluff around and try to be like a freeloader. But it is free actually while you're living there and you get fed and everything. And you gotta obey a bunch of rules. Like if you don't obey all the rules, you would actually get kicked out or asked to leave. I can't remember what they all are, but there's this thing called the 8 precepts. So it's like noble speech, noble behavior, these different things you have to do. So you can't swear or like say dirty jokes or anything. You have to like talk like just in a really nice, respectable way. And there's a bunch of other rules you have to follow. And you have to be celibate while you're there. You have to be abstinent. You're not allowed to have sex, and it's not like there's anyone there to have sex with anyway. And you're not allowed to masturbate. You have to be totally abstinent. And that was actually easy for me because I was pretty much totally abstinent for a year and a half when I was living in the ashram. I was already doing all that yoga and meditation and living out in nature, and it had really like dampened down my libido. And there was no girls or anything there, just like ugly fucking Thai monks in robes. So there's nothing stimulating. You don't have a phone, you don't have a computer, you just have a few Buddhist books and like nature, and you see a few other residents and monks like once or twice a day, and it's very very unstimulating. So yeah, you have to be celibate and all that. Um, yeah, and they take the rules, like most of the rules and the whole vibe. They take it pretty seriously. Like for example, I had a car when I was there, and like obviously I drove my car there and everything. And I tried to like one time I tried to drive from my hut to the meditation room, like where the kitchen is and everything, to get to the meditation center. And the abbot, like the leader of the monastery, he's like, you can't like drive around. You're not allowed to drive around the monastery. Like we're supposed to be being contemplative and like we're having a slow lifestyle and all that. You have to walk. And I was like, all right, fair enough. Like, so that's just an example of how they, for the most part, take all the rules and the purpose of the monastery like pretty seriously and like do things properly. So the routine of the monastery is really simple. They have one main meal a day, and the monks, there's only like when I was there was only a few monks living there. And there'd be some monks that would come and visit and then leave after like have a stay and then leave. There'd only be a few main monks, like 3 or 4 that lived there all the time. And then there'd usually be like 2 or 3 monks that were visiting. They only have one meal a day, which is lunch. Um, and lunch is kind of made more like an event. But if you're living there as a resident, but you're not a monk, you can have breakfast too, as well as lunch. But after I think it's 12, no one's allowed to eat any food. Uh, so lunch is the last meal of the day. But you do have something called allowables, which is like a few little kind of foods you're allowed to eat in the evening. And it's really random what they are. The only one I remember is you can have dark chocolate, which is kind of funny, but I can't remember what else you can have. That's literally the only thing I can remember. I think you can have drinks, you can have dark chocolate, maybe a few other things, maybe dried fruit or something. And supposedly that rule about allowables came in when the Buddha, like back in the day, saw some of the monks getting like really, really fucking skinny and emaciated on one meal a day. So he invented that. No one knows if that story is true, but that's the kind of fable about it. So yeah, so usually, just trying to remember the schedule. In the morning, we would have a meditation session, and I think we'd have a little talk. They call them like a Dharma talk, which is just like a little lecture about Buddhism. And then there'd be lunch, and sometimes we as residents would like help to prepare lunch and stuff, but sometimes we wouldn't. And the monks aren't allowed to touch any food or anything, like they're not allowed to prepare food. Food has to be given to them. They're not allowed to do any cooking or preparing of food or anything. So local Buddhist people would come and offer food to the monastery. So they'd drive up. Most of them would be people who owned restaurants and stuff, Asian people, Thai people. And they'd come and offer all this food, and it'd often be really lavish, like all this like leftover restaurant stuff, like fucking everything you can imagine, and a lot of Thai food. And yeah, so these monks only had one meal a day, but oh my god, they made it count. They line up and they have these bowls, and they like take things from like the window at the kitchen and like put them in their bowl. And those are big fucking bowls, and they stack it up. So they probably eat like a few thousand calories just like in one sitting. And I'm pretty sure they go and have a nap afterwards. But anyway, yeah. And then after lunch, everyone just does their own thing for the most part. Sometimes like we would have work to do, so we'd like chop wood, we'd like do some gardening, we'd like organize the kitchen a bit, but there really wasn't much. It was like, a few hours of like work a day, and that was it. And then you have time to yourself where you can do anything that you can do in the monastery, which is basically meditate, sit doing nothing and just be mindful, read, and you can only really read like the Buddhist books and like other meditation books from the library. You can walk around in the bush and stuff. You can like do some random little tasks like rake the leaves near your hut. And that's basically everything you can do. Like it's your own free time, but like you're pretty limited to the few activities that you actually can do in the monastery. And I also did a lot of yoga when I was there, especially because we would do really long meditations, and I was scared about my knees getting hurt or something. So I would do heaps and heaps and heaps of stretches every day to make my legs more flexible. So I wouldn't be putting pressure on my knees and fucking up my knees with these really, really long sitting meditation sessions. So yeah, and then usually in the evening there'd be another session of a Dharma talk, a meditation, and yeah, a f- a few other things. It's like a kind of service, and that would usually be in the actual big meditation hall. Um, so yeah, so we would meditate at least twice a day as group meditations, and sometimes more. And then you would go off and do your own meditation by yourself as well. And that was pretty much the routine, pretty much every day, and then you just go to sleep. So yeah. So yeah, we had these really elaborate, lavish lunches that people would come and donate and stuff. And that would be the monks' only meal, apart from those allowables that I explained before. But we as residents, we could have breakfast as well. And we had really good breakfast. I remember I used to make this porridge or muesli, and I put so much fucking yogurt and fruit and dried fruit and honey and all this stuff on it. Must have been more than 1,000 calories, just in that breakfast. But yeah. So obviously I did heaps and heaps and heaps of meditation during this time, and I was there for 5 months. And they would do really long sitting meditations. We would very often sit for over an hour. And I think the longest sitting meditation I ever did was an hour and 40 minutes. So that was without moving, without opening my eyes, without anything, just sat down, started meditating, didn't get up for an hour and 40 minutes. I think that was my longest ever one. And yeah, very frequently we would meditate for over an hour. And we would also do walking meditation. So we would be sitting in meditation, and then if your legs start hurting or you really can't handle it, you get up and you do some walking meditation. So you do it outside, and you just basically walk a few paces forward, and then you stop, and then you turn around, and then you walk back. And then you turn around again and you walk back. You're just walking up and down the same track over and over again. And they actually have proper dedicated walking tracks for this walking meditation. So most meditation huts have an actual raised platform where you do walking meditation. So you just walk back and forth on this kind of raised platform. I don't know how many meters it is, probably, I don't know, 50 or 100 meters or something. And you just walk, turn around, walk back, turn around again, walk back the other way, turn around again, walk back the other way. And you're just slowly, mindfully walking. It's like a meditation. So yeah, we would alternate between sitting meditation, walking meditation, sitting meditation, walking meditation. And at a certain point, I think it was a few months, we were doing something that's called the Rains Retreat. And basically what it is this period of the year where the monks do more intense meditation. So we met up to meditate more frequently and for longer. And there was just way more group meditation. So we meditated even more. And then as the rains retreat went on, like it got a little bit less intense. But yeah, that's a lot of your day is just like sitting and walking meditation. So this is really good for me because this is what I wanted to do. And this is actually, I wanted the yoga ashram to be more like this. And I was disappointed where it was when it wasn't. Um, and I learned so much from this, and like my mind really, really calmed down, obviously, like doing all this. And it's hard to describe like all the experiences I had in meditation, but yeah, I just had experiences of like my mind going completely blank, like completely quiet. And I had experiences where I'd be in sitting meditation and I would lose this one time in particular, seeing it like I was perceiving that like so clearly while the abbot of the monastery was in front of me, like talking and stuff. I wasn't seeing him as a person, I was seeing him like as a machine, like just as a machine working. It's really hard to describe like shifts in perception like that, but they happen and they're real. And like it was so hard not to burst out laughing. I was just like covering my mouth, being like, oh, because it was just so fucking weird. Because I remember what it was like just normally to see him as a person, but now I was seeing him like I was perceiving him as a collection of parts or like a machine, not as a person. In the same way you see diagrams in anatomy books, you don't really see those as people. You see them as corpses or parts of machines or something like that. I know it sounds really trippy. It's almost impossible to put this kind of stuff in words, but trust me, I had some fucking crazy experiences and some real like, yeah, out there like shifts in perspective and like kind of things that I learned through all this meditation practice and stuff we were doing. I had some other kind of interesting experiences there as well. Uh, we also did some fasting, like it wasn't compulsory, but some of us experimented with fasting and did like water fasts or just rice fasts where you just have like one bowl of rice per day and stuff like that. But I remember one time I really struggled with the not eating after 12, and maybe I hadn't, maybe I didn't eat enough at lunch or something like that. And I got really, really fucking hungry and I felt like my stomach was like fucking eating itself. Like it was like I was having full on like hunger pangs and stuff. And it was like late, late at night. And I was in my hut and I was just like, oh, I'm so hungry. It hurts. Like it's the most hunger I've ever experienced. It was weird because I've done fasts and stuff before, but usually your hunger just calms down. But I was having real hunger pangs and it was kind of making me kind of panic. So it was the middle of the night, it was freezing cold, and when it's night there, everything is pitch black. There's no lighting or anything. But I couldn't take it anymore, and I like went all the way from my hut to like the where the kitchen is and stuff like that. It's probably like 5 to maybe almost 10-minute walk, something like that. And I was feeling so bad about myself, but I stole like, what did I steal? Some biscuits, some kind of digestive biscuits. I think I took some like cream corn or some random thing. I was trying to choose just like the minimum of what would make my hunger go away. And I was also trying to choose like inconspicuous things that no one really liked, like that no one would miss. And then I ate this stuff and I tried to covertly like get rid of the remains, like the wrappers and stuff. And I was just feeling so like ashamed and bad about myself. And yeah, and no one said anything. Like I didn't say anything to anyone about it. Like I didn't confess or anything. But like the next day, someone saw me and they were like, "You look so guilty. Like, why do you look so guilty?" And I was like, "I don't know." Um, and I think someone had heard during the night, like someone going down to the kitchen or something. And the next, like, yeah, and that morning the abbot like kind of said some comments that like um weren't like calling me out or weren't calling anyone out about it, but he just happened to mention that people getting hungry and like stealing from the kitchen did happen, like kind of now and then. Like he's like, yeah, it kind of happens a lot. So it was kind of like acknowledging what had happened without calling me out or without like, yeah, being mean about it or whatever. And it's highly likely they all got together and were like, "Was it you? Was it you?" And no, and like they, I'm sure they knew it was me, but maybe they didn't. I'm 99% sure they did, but oh, it was so embarrassing. I felt so bad about myself. I didn't want to break the rules. I didn't want to like be that person, but just the hunger pangs, like the pain was so intense, like, and it was making me like mentally kind of like panic and stuff. Um, and it was really hard because remember I used to have an eating disorder, so that shit like made me panic. It was like, oh no, are we starving again? So yeah. Another strange experience I had was, um, so these huts were in the middle of the bush, the middle of the wilderness, and there were just these like small huts, like one room to meditate in, but they did have glass windows. And one day, a tiny bird flew full bore and just smacked into the window of my meditation hut. And I was like, oh my God. And it was this tiny, like beautiful little blue bird. Don't know what type it was or whatever. And it smacked into the glass and I picked it up and it was like all injured and shit. And it just like kind of looked at me and I saw the light leave its eyes and it died in my hands. And I was just like, oh my gosh, so sad. So this poor little bird like fucking broke its neck smacking into the glass, the window of my hut. And yeah, it died in my hands. And then I was like, wow, I think that's one of the first times like I've actually seen something die. Like I've seen the light leave a creature's eyes. It was pretty intense. But what I did, and you're probably going to think this is really fucked up, I put it on the end of my walking track. So it was just like the cute little, like sad body of this little dead bird. I put it on the end of my walking track. And when I did walking meditation, I would like go on my walking track. And then when I get to the end where the bird was, I just like contemplate like life and death and like look at this dead bird. And then I walk back to the other side and I turn around and I walk back and then I like contemplate the dead bird again. It became like my death meditation. And I just left the bird there and like ants came and like ate away at it. It turned into like, it started decomposing, turned into a little bird skeleton. And every day I would go out and do walking meditation and like contemplate like death and like contemplate like this dead bird and see as it decomposed and like slowly turned into nothing. It was like my death meditation. It was pretty intense. But at some point, someone, I never found out like who or how it happened, but someone found it and just like got rid of it. One day I came back and the skeleton was gone. So I didn't get to do that anymore. And maybe someone thought I was a real freak for having that there. But it was a very Buddhist-y kind of thing to do. But yeah. So that was pretty hectic. Here's another embarrassing experience I had. So yeah, I had my little meditation hut that I stayed in, and in winter there it gets like really, really cold. So um this is so bad that I did this. But when it got really cold, like instead of like walking way into the bushes to like take a piss, uh I would just like I would just go outside and be really close to my hut. I think I might have even been standing on the porch, and I would just like piss right there. And like as I pissed and pissed like over days and days, the patch of like leaves and stuff that I was pissing on turned like black. And one time like there was one time like for some of the work that people were doing, they went and like raked leaves and like cleared around different people's meditation huts, and someone else did mine. Like so someone else like went up to my hut and was like cleaning around it and stuff, doing gardening or whatever. And the next day, um at the Dharma talk, like in the morning, like with the meditation session, sometimes they do kind of like little announcements and stuff. And one of the monks was like, to the abbot, was like, "Do you want to talk about the urinating?" And then the abbot was like, "Oh yeah, well, this is a bit awkward, but if you need to like, if you need to urinate, do it like far away from your hut. Don't do it right near your hut because it stinks. And like if it's really cold, you can like urinate in a bottle and then throw it away or something. But yeah, don't urinate right near your hut. It's gross." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And everyone was like so awkward, like what the fuck? But one of the other residents, like the guys who was there, was like, "What was that about?" And I was like, "Gee, I don't know. Who knows? That's gross, isn't it?" But it was totally me. But two people obviously like, oh well, the abbot, probably the abbot, and then two other people, one monk and one resident, like knew it was me. So they never said anything to me directly, but yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. So I'm really grateful for getting to stay there and like live there for all those months and like have all those experiences and practice all that meditation and stuff. I did learn though that like Buddhism really is not like when I first got there, I thought Buddhism was like a philosophy, um, but it really is like a religion as well. So I am quite into like the core philosophy of Buddhism, but then there's all this like, there's also a religion built around it type thing. And I'll talk at more length, like I'll talk about this longer another time, but when I first got there, I'd mainly just read some books about Buddhism and stuff, and the core philosophy of it really made sense to me. It's like kind of like all your experiences, like everything in life is impermanent, so nothing can really satisfy you. Like, how can an impermanent thing or like a transitory experience ever satisfy you? So the best kind of approach is to like learn to be mindful, like be in the now, be equanimous, like not lust after things and desire after things and not fear things, just to like be totally present and just have like a calm mind and stuff like that. And then the whole thing about not self, like you are not a self, you are not a like one individual thing. Like there are just all these disparate experiences, sensations, thoughts, feelings, and then the awareness that is aware of them. None of it actually constitutes a person or an entity. It's just all like a passing stream of experiences type thing. and everything is like that. There's no self to be found. Um, and there's more to the philosophy, but those are some of the kind of core things. And from what I'd already learned from actually practicing like meditation and self-inquiry and stuff, it all made a lot of sense to me. But that was mainly what I was exposed to through like Buddhist related books that had a real philosophical bent. But as I stayed at the monastery, I also realized, well, there is a whole religion built around this philosophy. So how it seems to me is like probably like one guy or one kind of school of people, like group of people back way back in ancient times, kind of developed this philosophy and like had all these insights and stuff. And it was just kind of like a core philosophy of life or whatever. But over time, all this extra stuff got added. All these stories and rituals and different practices and like formal ways of doing things and stuff. And all these beliefs that you can't really confirm, like that were from, back in those times. Stuff about like devas, which are kind of like spirits, and like about reincarnation and all this stuff. It's like all this stuff that's more like doctrine or religion that it's not really a philosophy that you can confirm. It's just like religious like doctrines and beliefs and rituals and stuff. It's like all this stuff gets added over time and like added on by people who don't really understand what the core philosophy is about and like what the whole point of it is. That's kind of how it seems to me. So there's like the core practices and philosophy of it and the core actual point of it. But then there's the whole religion that's built around it, which often contradicts and misses the actual point of it. And a lot of the time, like, they say kind of like nonsense stuff that is probably has nothing to do with anything. But yeah, we can go more into that another time. So there's more I want to tell you about the monastery. I want to tell you about some of the weird people, the interesting characters and stuff I met there and that I interacted with. Um, but this episode's already like gone pretty long, so I'll save that for next time, and then I'll tell you about the adventures and stuff I had like after the 5 months in the monastery, like what I went and did then, and continue telling you about my super, super interesting experiences and adventures. So, yeah. So I'll leave it there for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you maybe learned something or got something out of it. Thanks heaps for listening. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you again next time.